Next up to the UK, where a new exhibition called London Mithraeum has opened, showcasing a reconstruction of the Temple of Mithras, built by the Romans in the 3rd century along the banks of one of the city's rivers. That river, like many in the capital, was long ago paved over and forgotten. But one man wants Londoners and tourists to know more about the city's hidden rivers. We went to meet him.
I've been living in London now for about 39 years, but it wasn't until about 7 years ago I first discovered these hidden rivers. And I just wanted to write and illustrate about them, to show them to other people, Londoners, tourists. The River Fleet starts on Hampstead Heath and flows 5 miles down to Blackfriars. One of my favourite parts of the River Fleet is here on Hampstead Heath. This is the beginning of the River Fleet. You can see the water bubbling up just here and running through. It isn't hidden at this point, it's very exposed in streams and ponds. The history of London is very much bound up with the River Fleet as well. The Romans used it. It was used for powering mills. Then people started to use it to throw rubbish away, and Smithfield Market, they were throwing offcuts of meat and gore and blood into the river. Dead animals were thrown into the river. Then it became foul and stinking, and so sadly they had to cover it up. When I was writing the book, I had to get inside the sewers to see what they were like. We all got donned up in white overalls, hard hats, waders, even a small oxygen supply. The thing that surprised me most was it wasn't as smelly as I thought it was going to be.
So that's the original river? Yeah.
These sewers, they started building them in the 1860s, beautifully engineered. The tiles down there are still in very good condition given, their age. In places it's big open caverns with huge metal doors. There are some narrow little corridors that you have to sort of scoot through. One interesting thing I found was we're so far down there we can actually hear the Circle and District line rumbling through. And another part of what makes the River Fleet so special is it's shaped the way some of the roads run, because the footpaths would run down the side of the river and roads now follow that same route. But there are still traces of the river, if you know where to look, where buildings have been constructed around the stream, not over the stream. And there are manhole covers where you can peer down and see the river, or the sewer as it is now, below. I would imagine that most of the commuters coming out of King's Cross Station are totally unaware that there is a river flowing in front of them here, although subterranean, of course. Here's an example of the River Fleet as it curves around King's Cross. It reflects on the architecture here. The hotel to my left is curved as it follows the line of the river. Above me here is the Holborn Viaduct, and it's a great reminder that there is still a river flowing underneath. This viaduct was built by the Victorians in the 1860s. The problem was, because we're in quite a steep river valley here, horse-drawn vehicles simply found it difficult getting from one side to the other, down the hill, up the hill. So they built this viaduct to alleviate the problem. I'm standing here by the Thames, and at this point at Blackfriars Bridge is where the River Fleet flows into the Thames. I think when people walk around London, they're not aware of how many hidden rivers there are. I wanted to show people the little clues and signs and the history of what is just beneath their feet.